Most of the cases that I cover are of young and middle-aged people mostly committing the crimes. In general, the crimes that seem to take the headlines include that demographic. However, just recently, another truly awful case came out in the headlines. But this time, the suspect is an elderly man, and the details are absolutely brutal and horrific. So today's case is the case of William Lowe out of Delray Beach, Florida. And it's a bit of a graphic one, so you guys, please be prepared for that. Hey guys, I'm Elise. This is 10 to Life. Let's jump right in. Thanks to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. AG1 is a daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health. Instead of addressing just one area of the body, it's supporting the brain, the gut, and the immune system. Now for me, I love AG1 because it helps support my immune system, and with 2 kiddos, one of them in school, and all of the germs that come along with that, I need all of the help that I can get. And also, I love that it supports my brain health because I feel like I need to remember 500 different things at any given moment, and since brain camp isn't a thing, AG1 is the next best thing to help support my brain, my noggin up here. Now let's talk other benefits of AG1 aside from just what I drink it for. AG1 helps support your focus and energy throughout the day with rhodiola, magnesium, and B vitamins, so there is no need to run to the coffee or the caffeine or have the crash that of course comes with it. It also supports your stress and mood through powerful plant extracts and adaptogenic herbs, plus antioxidants to help support your metabolism and promote mental clarity and alertness. Now for me guys, keeping a routine is hard because as you know, I am always on the go. But AG1 helps you keep your routine even on the go because AG1 travel packs make it so easy to stay committed to your intentions wherever you are and when you need it most. Go to drinkag1.com/10tolife to get started on your order now. AG1 is going to give my community a free 1-year supply of AG vitamins D3 plus K2 and 5 AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. It is a stellar deal. So guys, hit that link in my description, go to AG1 and pick up your goodies now. And thank you AG1 for sponsoring today's video and for supporting my brain, supporting my immune system, and supporting all the things in my body. On July 21st, 2023, a 911 call came in from someone who claimed to have discovered a suitcase in the intercoastal waterway in Delray Beach. The person calling had reason to believe that inside the suitcase were some type of human remains. So officers went to the area where that call came from, and when they got there, they were met with a truly shocking sight. There was indeed a suitcase, and there was a human foot sticking out from the zipper. When they opened the suitcase, there were 2 legs in the suitcase, as well as a bunch of rocks. Now, obviously, this was a shocking discovery. When they looked at the tag on the suitcase, there was a name on it that read Barbosa Aunties/A, and the tag looked like one of those airline tags that you get when you check a bag at the airport. Before the investigation could really even begin, and I'm talking less than an hour later, a second call came in. And this second caller also claimed to have found a suitcase in the waterway and, surprise, surprise, said that there were also human remains in that one. So detectives obviously rushed over there when they found this second suitcase. And this time, they found a torso and a bunch of rocks inside. Now guys, this is where it starts to get a bit graphic. The victim had a floral shirt on, but when detectives inspected the torso, they found that it had no hands, no head, and that it was just cut off just below the stomach area. Now, as if this case couldn't get any crazier and the situation couldn't get any crazier, they were still figuring out what was in the second suitcase when the person who called it in told them they had a friend who was boating nearby and had found yet another suitcase in the waterway. This time, they found a female pelvis inside that suitcase, as well as a cheesecake factory bag that had even more rocks and barnacles. So the next day, law enforcement decided it was time to do a water operation to see if there was anything else that had maybe not yet been found during that initial discovery. And during the search, they found a tote bag, which this tote bag had been tied shut on the handles and then wrapped with twine. There was also what appeared to be a men's belt around the bag. When they opened the bag, they found a female head inside. When they looked at the head, they saw that there was a gunshot wound behind the victim's ear and then an exit wound on the other side. They also found a fourth bag, which was like a purse handbag of sorts with an ashtray inside of it. As if it was not clear enough that they were dealing with a homicide, they were now able to figure out the exact manner of homicide. The woman had been shot. They had a victim, they had a crime, but they did not have a suspect yet. And that was next up in the investigation. The Delray Beach Police Department put out a Facebook post on July 23rd to see if that would help them gain any more information as to who this could be, what may have happened, who could be responsible. In the post, they described the victim, saying the victim is a white or Hispanic middle-aged woman with brown hair and approximately 5'4" tall. She may have had tattooed eyebrows and was wearing a floral tank top with a black undershirt and black mid-thigh shorts. The pattern on the floral shirt is provided in the attached photo. So they began interviewing witnesses to see if they could narrow down on a suspect. The first person they spoke to was a witness who lives by where the third suitcase was found. That witness told law enforcement that prior to the suitcase being discovered, a man in his 50s or 60s had been looking into the waterway at what seemed like the suitcase 5 to 6 times in a 3-day period. Finally, the witness had decided to ask him what he was looking for, and the man told him that he was waiting for the big boat to come into the harbor. The witness explained that big boats do not go into the harbor because it's too shallow, and he told investigators that the man seemed nervous by this, and then he quickly left in a little gold car. While investigators were talking to the witness, they noticed a ladder nearby on a dock. When the detective started looking at the ladder, she noticed that the bottom step had no barnacle on it, but the step above it did. That seemed a bit off, and remember, they had already found a bunch of barnacles in that Cheesecake Factory bag. So they ended up swabbing the ladder, and it came back positive for having blood on it. The next witness they talked to a day later were 3 construction men because they were replacing a roof on a home on that same waterway. They too confirmed seeing the man on July 20th and said he went and sat down on the seawall and started staring at the suitcase before saying, "shit," and then leaving quickly. They also corroborated the first witness's account of what type of car the man was driving, except this time they were able to tell the police that it was a Ford. The next witnesses told investigators that they had seen this man go down that dock ladder at the house under construction with a Cheesecake Factory bag. They also said he had a metal pole with what looked like a brush on top of it, and when they saw him, it looked like he was either trying to push or scrape something into that waterway. On the afternoon of the 24th, the Delray Beach Police held a press conference announcing some more details regarding the case.
Thank you, Chief. I'm just going to elaborate a little bit on the investigation. We're estimating our female victim is somewhere between 35 and 55 years of age. She is either Caucasian or Latin American. She's roughly 5'4" with brown hair and may have tattooed eyebrows. She was found wearing a floral tank top, pictured beside me, with a black camisole shirt underneath and black shorts. The brand of the floral top is Betsabe, which is unique, we believe, and from what we can tell is a Brazilian company. Based on the victim's condition, we believe the time frame in which she was put into the water to be between Monday, July 17th, and the early morning hours of Thursday, July 20th. We're asking for the public's help with reviewing video surveillance cameras during that time frame. We ask that you specifically look for unusual vehicles or people, and certainly anyone carrying or moving luggage. The area of interest is between the Linton Boulevard Bridge and the north end Delray Beach city limits along the Intercoastal Waterway.
The officers seemed to have a lot of information by that point, but still no definitive answer of who the man was. On July 26th, the police department released sketches of what they believed the woman looked like prior to her death. They still had no real identity, so they released that in efforts to help identify her. They also released photos of 2 of the suitcases that were found.
I'm Sergeant Casey Kelly with the Delray Beach Police Department, and we'd like to provide the public with more information regarding the homicide investigation that we believe occurred between July 17th and July 20th. We're going to release photographs of 2 unique pieces of luggage that the victim's body was found in. The first is a purple Palm Springs Ricardo Beverly Hills bag. The second is a green and black polka dot Charlie sport bag. We have also had the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office Forensic Imaging Unit complete a reconstructed image of what our victim may have looked like. The artist's rendition also contains a full body sketch that has similar clothing to what the victim was found wearing. The brand for the floral top is Betsabe, which from what we can tell is a Brazilian company. It is important for the public to know that these reconstructed images are not an exact likeness of the victim or her clothing and are simply the interpretation of the artist. We are again asking for your help with reviewing your personally owned video surveillance cameras along the Intercoastal Waterway during the specified time frame.
On July 30th, they were able to pull camera footage that showed the same man that the witnesses were talking about climbing down that dock ladder at 7:04 a.m. on July 20th. He then climbed back up the ladder and left, but returned at 4:13 p.m. that day and climbed down again, this time with no shirt on. And this time investigators noticed that he climbed back down with that Cheesecake Factory bag. And just a couple minutes later, when he climbed back up, the Cheesecake Factory bag was nowhere to be seen. On July 31st, one of the detectives told another that while they were just kind of canvassing the area on the 24th, a little gold Ford was seen in the area. He had luckily a photo of that license plate, and when they ran the plates, the owner showed up as 78-year-old William Lowe, and his apartment was just 0.1 miles from where that third suitcase was found, and 0.3 miles from that ladder on the dock, which surveillance cameras caught him climbing down. When they ran more information on his home address, they were able to see that a woman by the name of Aydil Barbosa Fontes resided in that apartment as well. And remember that tag that they found on the suitcase with the slash and the A? It's pretty much the same name as hers. So the next day, officers were able to secure a warrant to get DNA from William. When they asked William about his wife, he told them that she had been in Brazil for about 3 weeks, but he couldn't tell them how she got to the airport, what airline she flew, or when the last time he talked to her was. They showed him photos of the 2 suitcases, and he said that he had never seen them. When they brought up the tag on the suitcase and why it had his wife's name, he conveniently said he didn't know. That same day, officers were able to get a search warrant for the inside of his apartment. When they went through it, there were obvious signs that something very disturbing had gone down in that apartment. There was blood spatter in multiple rooms of the apartment, and I'm talking in the living room, the dining room, the hallway, bathrooms, and even in the primary bedroom. There was also blood in the shower and the bath drains, and I'm sure it's no surprise that there were tons of cleaning supplies present as well. Most of the blood seemed to be in the living room, the dining room, and in the primary bedroom in the form of drag marks. Now, of course, during this search, William seemed to be doing what any suspect usually does when the investigators are onto them. He was clearly panicking, but he went as far as trying to go into the apartment through the back window. When law enforcement stopped him from coming into the apartment, he told them he was trying to get his phone and the keys to his storage unit, which were in the guest room. Now, obviously, he was not allowed in, so there was no way that he would be able to tamper with that evidence. He couldn't be inside that apartment. They were not going to allow him back in there while they're collecting all of this evidence. So William asked them to get his credit card and driver's license out of his wallet for him. So they did. But that wasn't the only thing that they found in that room. They also found a business card for the storage unit that he was talking about, and in the desk drawer was a 9mm gun. A neighbor named Allison spoke to law enforcement and told them that on the same day, in the morning around 8, she had seen William put a tote box into his vehicle. She told them that the last time she had seen Aydil was a couple weeks prior. Her dogs would usually bark at any movement, and lately they had been barking and waking her up in the middle of the night. She kept hearing William's door opening and closing between the hours of 1:30 and 3:30 in the morning, which wasn't part of his normal routine, obviously. She also mentioned that William often left her flowers and had even done so the week prior outside of her door, and she had text proof confirming that he had done it. The next day, on August 1st, it was confirmed through dental records that the body found was that of Aydil. Obviously, William was looking real culpable, but in efforts to build the case, the investigation continued. That same day, law enforcement was able to talk to another neighbor. Her name is Alexandria. Alexandria told them that William's sister had been living in an apartment unit. However, she hadn't seen the sister in 2 or maybe even 3 years. The only movement she really saw over there was William going in and out once or twice per month. One of the more disturbing things that she said was that 2 to 3 weeks prior, she had seen this trail of liquid from William's apartment all the way to his sister's. Now, at the time, she apparently thought that it was a trail of soup. Law enforcement was able to verify that the trail was a real thing, simply by talking to the maintenance guy who had been tasked with cleaning it up using 409 spray. He told them that he thought that it was about 3 weeks prior. When law enforcement went to look at his sister's apartment, they saw what they thought was blood spatter on the wall next to the front door. They immediately got a search warrant, and when they went inside, they found a chainsaw cover and a charger for a chainsaw as well. They also saw a lot of cleaning supplies. Now, during the investigation, they figured out that William and his wife were the only ones with access to the apartment. William's sister had not been to the apartment in over 3 years. After searching the sister's apartment, their efforts switched to getting access to that storage unit that William had mentioned. They were able to gain entry to the storage unit on August 2nd. Inside the unit, they found a chainsaw. And here's where it gets worse. The chainsaw had blood all over it. There was flesh, bone matter, and hair on it as well. So if it wasn't clear before, it became very clear right then and there that William was most likely involved in this and was the perpetrator they were looking for. And the evidence on the chainsaw meant that William had shot his wife and then cut her up with a chainsaw before putting body parts in separate suitcases and her head in a tote bag. Just absolutely deranged and sickening. On Tuesday, August 2nd, 78-year-old William was arrested and charged with first-degree premeditated murder and abuse of a dead body in regards to the murder of his 80-year-old wife. He appeared in court the next morning where he pled not guilty and was given no bond. William immediately obtained counsel, so he did not give a statement to the police. They held a press conference after his court appearance where they announced the arrest and showed 2 photos of Aydil. In those photos, she looked to be wearing that same shirt that she was wearing when her body was found. Since the arrest, some neighbors have spoken out, and this is a very tight-knit community and generally quiet, so you can imagine what a shock something like this is to them. It's important to note that where this all went down is a very nice and affluent area. Most homes alongside or nearby that waterway are in the multi-million-dollar range, and an apartment for sale in the same building as William and Aydil is currently for sale for over $1 million. This was such a horrific and unexpected thing to happen, as it would be anywhere, but especially in this tight-knit, quiet, affluent community. One woman whose daughter lives on the same street did an interview.
My daughter lives on the street, so just in and out the last couple of days, there's just been a lot of police activity. So it's just, disturbing in the fact that this kind of event has happened into the Delray community. It's such a small niche community and so disturbing, as gruesome as the details are.
One man, Jacob Grozier, has spoken out as well. His crew found one of the suitcases, and when he spoke about the moment they discovered it to a news outlet, he said, and I quote, My pool tech found it, Eli. Eli said as soon as he saw it with the smell and everything, he felt there was something wrong. So he and his helper used the pool pole to push it and thinking, oh, it's going to just be an empty suitcase. But it didn't move, and it was completely full. Not much has come out since his arrest, and not much is really known about William and Aydil's life together, besides William's attorney saying he is totally innocent and a decorated Vietnam War veteran who received a Purple Heart Award.
His attorney spoke with Inside Edition Digital by phone.
The allegations against Mr. Lowe are obviously horrendous. Lowe is 78 years old, decorated Marine, he has the Purple Heart, fought in Vietnam, 0 blemishes on his record. He was an upstanding citizen for 78 years, so the allegations don't fit Mr. Lowe, and he's pled not guilty, and he's looking forward to fighting these allegations in a courtroom as soon as possible.
Does he know then, what happened to her?
I don't know. I haven't directly asked him that. Trying to find out what the police are claiming happened and do our own investigation. So we've just begun today's first day to figure out what really happened. At this point, I don't know much.
I have found reports that say that they had been married for 15 years, and there has not been any family that has spoken out, and the two of them seem to have lived a very quiet and private life, which isn't shocking considering just how old they are. But the big question here is why? Why would this 78-year-old man kill his 80-year-old wife and then take it a step further and literally saw her body apart limb by limb and dispose of her in separate suitcases? The police still don't have a motive, and I'm still racking my brain with the possible motives and what at all would make sense here. It's not like he seemed to be trying to get a life insurance payout or that they were going through a divorce or anything like that. I mean, maybe there was cheating and adultery happening, but I don't even know the last time I've heard of an 80-year-old woman having an affair, to be quite honest. I'm not trying to be ageist here or anything, but really. I did find his Facebook, and there was one really odd thing that I did find kind of off. 5.5 years ago, he reshared a photo that she had posted on Facebook of herself, and he commented under his repost with the words, "The girl from Ipanema." Ipanema is a place in Brazil in which Aydil is believed to have actually been from. Now, to me, it would seem a little impersonal if my husband referred to me as the girl from California 10 years into our marriage. I know that in other cultures, sometimes they refer to children as the girl or the boy, but this one, I don't know, it just kind of seemed a little more off-putting to me. I also noticed Aydil and William were not friends on Facebook when I looked at the account. There's also no photos of them together on social media, which makes sense too, though, given their ages. I think that if a trial does happen, and even before a trial happens, we probably will find out a lot more information little by little. But right now, we still don't even know what day Aydil was killed or when he took the suitcases to the waterway. But so far, we've seen the police do an incredible job with the investigation that seems to be far from over. William's next court dates are on September 1st and September 28th. So, of course, I will be keeping you updated with any big updates in this case as it unfolds and any new details that begin to emerge in this case. I haven't talked about an elderly case and an elderly murder in quite some time. It's baffling to me. I get anybody is capable of murder, but there's something that just is not math in here for me. So I'm very curious to know what you think about this case and if you have heard any other information regarding it that maybe I didn't include in this video. So sound off in the comments. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning into this episode with me today. If you appreciated the case coverage, please don't forget to give this video a quick like and subscribe to the channel to see more true crime from me. It seems like I'm posting new case videos 4 times a week on average now, so there is no shortage for you to watch on here. All right, guys, thanks again, and until the next case, stay safe. Bye.